A sprawling crowd of First Nations protesters swirled outside the Prime Minister's office in the shadow of the Peace Tower on Parliament Hill today. Prime Minister Stephen Harper has wrapped up his controversial meeting with First Nations leaders, including the Treaty 7 Grand Chief Charles Weaselhead from the Blood Reserve. CTV's Ottawa Bureau Chief Robert Fife reports.
Several thousand Idle No More protesters marched in drizzling rain, blocking the main road in front of Parliament Hill, waving flags and chanting against Prime Minister Stephen Harper's summit with over a dozen First Nations leaders.
Come on out! Come on, Chief! Be a man! My chiefs are right here!
Native hunger striker Ray Robinson and Manitoba chiefs led the way, blockading the entrance to the Prime Minister's office.
He has to tell us why he won't meet with us, why he won't face us.
Manitoba chiefs had been invited, but refused to go because the Governor-General did not attend the working meeting, even though he'll hold a ceremonial reception at Rideau Hall tonight.
For him to bring the Governor-General, he failed to do that. We will not compromise. We will do it our way.
Despite forming a human chain around Harper's office, about 20 chiefs made it to the meeting.
We were mandated to do this, and we're here to represent our people. That's it.
So does Sean Atleo, the National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, whose job may now be on the line. The Idle No More movement has been picking up steam since Attawapiskat Chief Teresa Spence began her month-long protest subsisting on fish broth and water.
All the benefits is going to Canadian citizens except for us.
Ontario chiefs also boycotted the talks. They vowed to cripple the economy in a day of national protest planned for next Wednesday.
Stop the roads, stop the rails, stop the transportation of goods.
Quebec Cree Chief Matthew Cooncombe went to the meeting saying it's time for action to break the chain of poverty.
But I certainly do not want to tell my children, my grandchildren, that I went there and did not have a meeting.
The chiefs and the Prime Minister spoke about a new deal on revenue sharing of natural resources, respect for ancient treaties, better schools for Aboriginal youth, and a special cabinet committee dealing with First Nation issues. Robert Fife, CTV News, Ottawa.
Support for the Idle No More movement and Chief Teresa Spence continues to be strong here in southern Alberta. About 50 people marched along Highway 3 today near Brockett. Traffic was reduced to a single lane as supporters demonstrated their support. The protesters say they should have been consulted before the Harper government went ahead with legislation they say affects reserve land and protected waterways.
It's not just an Indian thing. I cannot stress this enough. It is not an Indian thing. It's a Canadian issue, and it's a Canadian thing. If you care about our environment, you care about your children, you should be asking questions.
Closer to home, nearly 100 people gathered at Galt Gardens this afternoon in Lethbridge to show their support for the Idle No More movement. Organizers say they're happy that support has continued to be strong throughout their campaign from both inside and outside Canada. The group says they'll continue to show their support for Chief Spence and their cause until they get results.
Shows that we're all, basically we're in this together, and we need each other. We need everybody to come together rather than any kind of divisions. And we know that the government likes to divide and conquer, so to state. So I just think that this is a good show of unity for everybody here, especially in Lethbridge.